What is up, guys? Rick Grimes for President here. And let me just start out by saying that the episode last night really honestly made me squeal. I mean, that episode was seriously better than Bacon. Too soon? Anyways, welcome back to another episode review, opinions, thoughts video. I'm Rick Grimes for President, and this is my review on The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 2, Infected, that just aired last night. I was going to post the video last night after it got done, but I ended up watching The Talking Dead and then rewatching the episode and then watching Comic Book Man, and by the time all that was over, it was like 1 a.m. and I was really tired, and I knew all you guys were in bed already and asleep, and you weren't going to see the video till the day anyway, so I just thought might as well push it off. Anyways, I hope you guys did bring some tissues last night when you watched the episode, because that was a sad one. There was a lot of really big moments in the episode that I want to cover, and as you know, at the end of the last episode, Patrick died, which we learned kind of why this episode. So Patrick died, and he woke up, and he's a zombie now. So you know he's hungry, and everybody's asleep in their cells, and he's gonna get some late night snacking going on, and that's exactly what he does. Right, kicking off with the episode, we see Tyrese and Karen with their little lovey-dovey scene, and then Karen goes back to her room, hears some noises, ends up not finding out what it was, but we end up finding out that it's Patrick. And so Patrick gets up, walks around with his little zombie walk, and goes in, finds a man snoring in his bed, and eats his throat out. It's pretty disgusting. Greg Nicotero did an awesome job this whole episode, really. And soon after that, everybody's munching on everybody. It's chaotic, guys. I mean, if you watch the episode, I was sitting here like, oh, freaking out, man. The whole scene. Everybody was freaking out. People were turning left and right. Everybody was just trying to grab their loved ones, grab their friends, and get out of there. Rick and Carl were outside messing with the garden when Maggie and came to warn Rick about it. So Rick goes running inside, and Michonne is coming from inside the fence on her horse, and ends up having to get off her horse and fight some zombies that are coming inside the fence where she was coming in. And she ends up getting in a pretty bad situation, and this is the first time where Carl is bad A. I mean, he picks up the rifle, thinks about it for a second, and then pulls up, boom, pops the walker right in the head, saves Michonne. Michonne ends up getting out of there. She did suffer a hurt ankle, which you see later on in the episode, but Michonne's tough. She toughs it out. And then we flash back inside where it's chaotic. It's a chaotic mess. People are dying left and right, and Daryl, Rick, Herschel, Glenn, everybody is just trying to protect anybody right now. They're killing walkers left and right who were 5 minutes ago their friends and their cellmates. So it's really tough for everyone to experience this. And the reason it's so tough is because for months and months they've been fine. They've been waking up, spending time together, eating, sleeping, and going on with the next day. And they've not been used to threats in the prison at all. There have been no threats whatsoever for the past 6 months now, and everybody is so content with their life, and they're so content with what's going on, and they think that nothing can go wrong. And then this episode was a huge wake up call for everyone, because it made them realize, hey, we are still in a zombie apocalypse right now, and we are not safe. Regardless of whether we're inside two chain fences with barbed wire at the top, it doesn't matter. We're not safe. People can still die, and we clearly see this because, as you know, the title of this episode is Infected, and we learn why. Because after all the walkers and stuff get taken care of, we know that everyone is sick right now. Something is going around. It's kind of like a flu-like thing. And on The Talking Dead, they said that they took the influence of the 1918 virus, where you get sick during the day and you're dead by night. So this is something huge, because there are people in there that are probably not sick, and there are people in there that are sick, and we don't know who's who. One cough and you get looked at with a dirty look and get shunned off to the other side of the prison. So everybody has to be careful now, because what's going to happen? I mean, who's sick? Who's not sick? Who's going to die? Are we all infected? It's different now. It's not just zombies. It's not people. It's three different things now. I mean, you have walkers on the outside. You have people still out there clearly wanting you dead. The governor is still alive, people. And now you have a flu-like sickness spreading everywhere around the prison. And as I said, the last review that I did, things are getting worse, guys. I mean, it's The Walking Dead. Things are just constantly getting worse. So a few of the key things I want to focus on here. Stuff that really stood out to me was, like I said, the doctor there says it's kind of like a flu. Rick and Carl now have more of a relationship this episode. You kind of see their relationship. Carl always wanting to come outside and help Rick, and Rick being like, I don't need your help. I just want you to stay alive. I want you to go inside, play with the other kids, and just do your own thing, but just stay safe. And as you know, Carl doesn't have his gun anymore. He gets it back at the end of this episode, which is an awesome idea. Rick hasn't been carrying a gun for a long time now, and he starts carrying his gun at the end of this episode. And the reason why is because if you've really paid attention to the scenes they've involved Rick in, he's been so hesitant in everything he has done. When everybody was turning inside the prison during this episode, he was hesitant when he had to go inside the cell and stab one of the zombies in the head. He was hesitant about that. In this episode, when the walkers started pushing over the fence, he was hesitant when he had to go stab him through the fence. Everything showed this. It zoomed in on him thinking and then doing it. Because Rick has been so, he's just been not messed up in the head, but he's just been so weary about anything now. He doesn't want to kill anymore. He doesn't want to have to be the Rick that he was in seasons 1 and season 2, just taking, nothing and killing anybody that poses a threat to him. He's not trying to do that anymore. He's trying to be less of a leader and more of a follower now. And I don't think he should be doing this, and I don't think the people of the prison are going to want him to do this anymore. I think they're going to want somebody to step up as a leader again. And this is what he sort of does this episode. He starts stepping up that leader role again and doing what needs to be done to survive, because you can't just lay around and be safe anymore. And Rick realizes this. He realizes now that he's going to have to step it up again and fill in that role, because he's the only one that can do it willingly and can do it without hesitation, because he's done it before. So that's something that really hit me on this episode, seeing him just get hurt over and over again every time he had to kill a walker, or every time he had to do something that he didn't want to do that was out of his comfort zone. And another big thing this episode was the two little girls. Their father died this episode, Lizzie and Mika, I believe their names were. Carol ended up having to kill their father. Carol tried to let Lizzie do it, and Lizzie couldn't do it. She was weak, and Carol wasn't my favorite this episode. She made some really bad decisions. She took these little girls and basically told them they were weak and told them all this other stuff, which I think is good, telling someone how to survive and stuff like that. But I mean, these little girls just lost their father. One of them is pretty crazy in the head, as you can see, and I just don't think Carol made the right decisions with these girls in this episode, and I'm not too sure why. I'm not sure if she kind of was bringing up her past when she was talking about these two little girls, because I don't know. It was just weird. It was weird to me. So, like I was talking about earlier, the walkers were piling up on the fence this episode, and we see why. It was because someone was feeding them rats. And I know you guys have probably asked yourself, why are these walkers piling up on this fence? Why haven't people taken the time to take shifts or something and take care of these walkers on an hourly basis or whatever? And my reason behind this is that it's not really their job to do that, because they just came from Woodbury, and as you know, Woodbury was perfect. It was like heaven to them. They had no problems whatsoever. The governor and all his troops did all the work for them. They didn't have to shoot anything. They didn't have to kill anything. Nothing happened. They just lived, and that's all. They just got free, board, room, and meal. They got everything, and this is what they're used to. They're not used to going out to a fence and stabbing zombies through the head on an hourly basis. They're not used to that, so they're not going to do that. Yes, maybe they should have stepped up and done it, but they didn't see anything as a threat. They haven't seen anything as a threat in months, so they didn't think it was a problem. So this is the reason why this episode is a wake-up call, because they have to realize that this is a problem now, that they have to start stepping up and taking roles in the community if they want to survive as a whole, because they lost 14 people in this episode from their group. They were like 40 some in the group, and they lost 14 people in just one probably 2-hour period, if not shorter than that. So they really have to step up and take roles in this episode and after. And let's see. Another thing that really, really touched a lot of people, I think, was Michonne and the baby. That was an awesome scene. Little Judith was sitting there playing with cups, and I just wanted to pause my TV, even though I can't pause my TV. I wish I had DVR at college. But I just wanted to pause that and just sit on that for a second, because that baby was so cute playing with those cups. And then when Michonne holds the baby in her arms, and it's just a scene and a half right there. And if you're a comic book reader, you know that Michonne had 2 daughters in the comics, and they died when the outbreak happened. So I think this is kind of tying back into the comics, because Michonne did have 2 daughters, and she hasn't been around kids of her own in a long time. And I feel like this is a time where she's holding Judith, and she kind of feels like that Judith is her own. And it's an awesome scene. They did a really, really good job with it. Danai Gurira, Michonne, she's an awesome actor, and the baby's an awesome actor too, if you can consider that acting or just being a baby. No pun intended. But so that was a really, really awesome scene. There were so many good scenes in this episode, and my main point is just that this episode was a wake-up call to everyone in the prison. And the biggest scene that I know you guys probably kind of got really upset on was the pig scene. That the only way that they were going to get those walkers off of the fence was to draw their attention away. So Rick came up with the idea to take Daryl, put him in a car, put Rick on the back on the trailer with the pigs, drive outside of the fence, and go out, cut the pigs' legs, and drop them off so they couldn't walk, and so the walkers would come and eat the pigs instead of crowding on the fence. And this, honestly, you could see hurt Rick a lot, because, I mean, he's sacrificing these little pigs. He had to do what he had to do, though, and this kind of showed where he's starting to realize, man, this is tough. I'm gonna have to make a decision here. Especially the last pig, when he cut its leg and the blood squirted on his face, and he kind of just, he was just like, oh man, why is this happening? But once again, this is a big wake-up call for Rick, because at the end of the episode, you see him give Carl back his gun. He gets his gun again, which I'm so glad about, because we get to see the gun way up in the air again like Rick does. And so I'm really excited about that. But like I said, everyone, this is just a wake-up call. This episode was a wake-up call to slap people in the face and be like, hey, we're not safe. We got to wake up and make some rolls here and do what's got to be done in order to survive, or this is going to keep happening over and over again. And Rick realizes this. Daryl realizes this. They all realize that nothing's going good right now, and they really have to step up and do what has to be done. At the end of this episode, which blew my mind even, you see Tyrese go look for Karen because he knows that she's sick and she got, sent off into her own cell, and he sees a blood, pattern, stain, whatever you want to call it, blood trail from her cell all the way outside. And he goes outside and sees two burned, charred bodies, one of them being hers, laying outside, a gas can sitting there. Somebody has killed Karen and the other survivor, drugged them outside, and burned their bodies. Is this the same people, the same person that's feeding the rats to the walkers? Is it two different people or what? We don't know what's going on inside the prison. Somebody has to be a traitor. Somebody's not right in there. And this is my opinion on this matter, is that it's the Bob Stuckey character, whatever you want to call him. And he's the guy that volunteered, the bald guy that volunteered to go to the supermarket in the first episode. And so that's just my opinion on who it is. I know a bunch of people think that it might be the little girl Lizzie, but I'm not too sure that she's capable of enough of doing that when she couldn't even kill, her own father when he was turning into a walker. So that's just my opinion on this, but this was an awesome episode, guys. I know this video is running a little bit long, but I just wanted to cover all my main points. So I give this episode a 4 out of 5. Just like last week's episode, this episode was awesome, almost topped. It did top last week's episode, but it wasn't as deep as last week's episode, I don't think. But like I said, this one I'm going to call Wake Up Call, guys, because that's really what this episode was. I'm going to stop talking now. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I did. Thank you guys for watching this. Please like. Should be down low. Comment. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me what I should do. Tell me what you want to see. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And you can get my videos. You can get a notification for them, I believe, right when they come up. And check out a friend of mine. He does videos just like me. And me and him have similar ideas. But if you want to get a different opinion or a different review on the episode, I believe his channel is called Out of My Geek Mind. I think it's out space of space my space geek space mind. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And his name is Noah. And he does awesome reviews. So please check that out, guys. And as always, thank you for watching. And I'll see you next Sunday.